Back, True Seeker. It is Thursday, December 14th, 2023. It was 11 years ago today that Sandy Hook happened, the mass shooting in Connecticut. It was also just a couple of years ago that Steph Curry set the three-point shooting record, passing the Connecticut product Ray Allen, who played Jesus Shuttlesworth, born on the 201st day of the year. And then you might also recall that was at the same time Bill de Blasio was telling the people in New York to go out and get their third shot. And of course, the COVID vaccine did go live on this day in 2021. They said the first vaccinated person in America, they said her name was Sandra Lindsay. Sandy Hook on the same day, December 14th. So we're on this date, December 14th, fateful day in history. It's the day George Washington, the first recognized president, died during a medical procedure. And if you've never seen my work on the death of George Washington and why this date is so fateful in history, it's out there. Again, my website's GematriaEffectNews. My older website, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. The books that I got out there, the mini videos, the ones that haven't been taken down by Big Brother yet. But, yeah, Larry David. It's announced today that it's going to be the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and they say the last episode will be on April 7th. 4-7, that all-important number. What is 47? The number for time rituals. But we're going to talk about why that matters. April 7th, the last Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, the day before the next big American solar eclipse, which is April 8th. April 7th will be on a Sunday. The next day is the big eclipse, April 8th. The last one was in 2017. You might recall Chris Cornell of Soundgarden, who did the song Black Hole Sun. He died that year just before the eclipse. And then Chester Bennington died on his birthday, and supposedly both of them hung themselves as rock stars who both had songs about eclipses, or things at least pertaining to an eclipse, like a black hole sun, how you can make out that interpretation. But again, I bring up that Chris Cornell was born on the 201st day of the year, and Ray Allen born on the 201st day of the year, because as we'll get to, Larry David, the creator of Jerry Seinfeld, The Seinfeld Show, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, he makes this announcement today, 201 days before his upcoming birthday, July 2nd. And we'll go back to what my post from almost 2 years ago. I have a post from almost 2 years ago on the 201 ritual going on at that time with Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm and the death of a former cast member. And I paralleled that post to what happened to David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister in Israel's history, who died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. So we're going to go back and look at that post from 2 years ago. And anyhow, Elon Musk, with his company X, you have the eclipse coming and the pattern of the 2017 eclipse and the 2024 eclipse. They pretty much make a perfect X over the United States of America. If you look it up, it's pretty interesting. And again, X is the 24th letter, like 2024. Just yesterday, the big story was that the biggest recall in Tesla history, 2 million vehicles. And the recall was exactly 24 weeks after Elon Musk's June 28th birthday. 24 weeks, like X, the 24th letter, like how they rebranded to X on the 24th day of the 7th month, 247, 24th of July. And then they put up a big X on the building, but it had to be taken down after 24 people petitioned against it. That's what was in the news. But this story with the recall, if I didn't mention in Gematria, recall equals 24 as well. We'll go over all of it. But this news comes right after the weekend where the big buzz is the newer movie produced by the Obamas that debuted on Netflix Friday, December 8th, where a plot point in the movie is that new Teslas are being hacked and controlled remotely to crash into things, to stop roads and interstates, to shut down the ability for people to commute by vehicle. And again, just seeing this in the movie, it's got my mind buzzing because I live in the Portland, Oregon area, and for years, the Clackamas Mall, the suburban mall of Portland, It's right where two of the major interstates for the Portland area intersect. Since there's so many abandoned shops there, there's now a huge empty spot in the parking lot. And for years now, there's just been hundreds of new Teslas parked there. And I just thought, man, they always have this surplus of Teslas here. Every year we come back, the Teslas are still here now. I mean, how many? They're keeping Portland stocked with Teslas. They're waiting for a huge surge. But now watching this, I'm like, God, that is sick. If this is the kind of stuff that they're little. Again, if you guys don't know about this new movie produced by the Obamas, we've been talking a lot about it. But it just made the big buzz, and now the biggest recall with Teslas for the autopilot function, when that's the whole theme point in the movie, the autopilot function in the cars being controlled remotely. But yes, the other piece of this, just like I have this thumbnail up here, Alex Jones gets reinstated on Twitter, or X now, Mr. Conspiracy, right? And that's the same weekend as the Obama movie. The Obama movie was Friday, December 8th, premiering on Netflix. Alex Jones is reinstated Sunday, December 10th, does a long podcast with Elon Musk and others. And then the very next day, it's reported that David Icke and Alex Jones, the two biggest names in conspiracy, when, Obama just put out this movie just full of conspiracy plot points. A president, the first movie they ever produced, just all about conspiracy. It's just, and again, the federal government, you can't even comprehend it because it's so obvious that the federal government's all conspiracy. They're not going to release the JFK files for another 50 years. It's like, oh, so they're hiding something. They're keeping secrets from the populace. They're withholding information. These are all things that are relevant to conspiracies. But anyway, David Icke's daughter dies the next day at age 48. And if you go back and watch my broadcast from the day before the David Icke news broke, we were talking about how important 48 is to Alex Jones and the ritual of coming back on that date. Because in Gematria, Alex Jones equals 48. So does InfoWars. So does World War. This is happening at the time of Israel, rumors of World War. When Israel was established in 48, again, rumors of World War starting in that region with Israel at the focal point right now. What happened there October 7th, the anniversary of the U.S. invading Afghanistan after 9/11, as they call this Israel's new 9/11, and the 119th World Series ends on Bush's 119th day of his age. The president, when 9/11 or 119 happened, depending on where you were in the world and how you write the date. But yes, 48. Again, the other thing about the X is, right, the X pattern across the nation with the eclipse is going to be April 8th, 4-8. And other key 48 words. Illuminati equals 48. Remember, the Illuminati was founded by the Jewish man Adam Weishaupt, who was Jesuit trained. Adam Weishaupt, Jesuit trained, who died in history November 18th, 1830, 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment on May 1st, just like how David Ben-Gurion died 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. Again, just coming back to the significance of this number. And if you watch my larger work on this new movie produced by the Obamas, Leave the World Behind, about the end of America as we know it, after the grid goes down, like Public Enemy told us a few years ago, in the same type of ritual. Commodus is a big plot point. Commodus was assassinated, and then the fall of Rome. The end of the golden age of Rome is after the death of Commodus, which was made famous in the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe, where he's Maximus who kills Commodus. Again, the name Commodus is up on the screen at the end of the new movie by the Obamas. But this movie premiered 201 days after Russell Crowe's birthday. Go figure. Guy who kills Commodus at the time of the fall of the empire. This Obama's movie with all these clues and riddles and plot points. But then once again, here we are again also with entertainment and the news mimicking entertainment. Again, autopilot feature of Tesla's exploitable potential thing, terrorist threat against the U.S. in this Obama movie. That then just a few days later, after everyone finally hears about the movie now that's on Netflix, biggest recall for the autopilot. Remember when HBO put out that show at the beginning of the year based on the video game, like a zombie type of movie, The Last of Us maybe? The Last of Us? And it's about how like fungus starts to morph humans. But then all of a sudden the news was covering stories like exactly like that topic, like it was real and happening and a possibility. It's like, okay, so the buzzing show on HBO is now like CNN's focus, like it's a real news story. We've never heard about this before. We were covering that at the beginning of the year. And we also covered how in the video game, it's set in a different city. It's set in Pittsburgh. And in the HBO show, they changed it to Kansas City. And there was a shootout in Kansas City. And the episode released the day before the Super Bowl that Kansas City beat the Eagles. The Eagles and the Steelers used to be merged back in the time of World War II as the Steagles. But yeah, we thought the shootout in Kansas City being the plot point, we thought that was a good sign for the over in the Super Bowl, and it was the over. We thought it'd be a shootout. That's the terminology at the high score, and then it was a very high score. So full of rituals. It was a beautiful day, a player props. But again, you learn to take advantage of how rigged the world is. You can see through the rigged football game. And I'm going to do another big stream, or you guys can just go to my website if you want to, when you got a minute, GematriaEffect.news. I have a big post up on how Julia Roberts and Matthew Perry, the first episode they were ever in Friends together at the same time. Well, it would have been, Julia Roberts making her debut because Matthew Perry's always on it. But that episode debuted January 28th, 96, the day of the Super Bowl. And that episode was called The One After the Super Bowl. And there's some really interesting things about the day of that episode in light of what happened October 28th, 2023, as again, we've covered a whole lot. But yeah, here, just so you can see this with your own eyes, to go through this with some visuals. Today is December 14th, 2023. Let me scroll down to Larry David here for a minute. Larry David, where are you, Larry? Did I not put the screenshot in here? I always love to forget the most key screenshot. All right, here. Larry David, date of birth. July 2nd, 1947. He was born the same year that Israel was drawn up. Israel was drawn up and voted on by the United Nations September 3rd, 1947. It wasn't voted on that day, but it was drawn up September 3rd, 47, the boundaries of Israel. It was voted into existence, Israel, November 29th, 47, with UN Resolution 181. Remember, Henry Kissinger in Gematria is 181, and he died this year on that anniversary. And Henry Kissinger has a lot to do with Israel's policy from the time he's been in federal politics, seemingly up through the very recent history. I mean, we've been hearing from Kissinger even in recent years. But Larry David, from today's announcement, December 14th, to his birthday, 201 days. This is a screenshot from 2 years ago. Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. The character's holding up the phone to show you it's 201 in the episode. Again, if you're new to here, there's so many important rituals performed with this number. Just yesterday, that Civil War movie came out. 201 days after, or the trailer came out, not the movie, but the trailer with all the hype. 201 days after Alex Garland, the director's birthday. And then the actor Andre Braugher, who starred in notable Civil War movies, is buzzing in the news for his death at 61, when the Civil War began in 1861. But that news was buzzing at the same time, 201 days before his upcoming birthday. And just day after day, you pay attention to what's going on in celebrity, you just see how this number is part of this high ritual. And there's a reason why. It all has to do with Kabbalah and beliefs within Jewish mysticism, a phrase that has Gematria 201, Jewish mysticism, like Jerry Seinfeld. But I did this article 2 years ago on Catherine Cates, who was in Seinfeld, her death at 73, and how she died 201 days from the anniversary of, hold on, where's the post? This is what I wanted you to see. Seinfeld, it ran from July 5th, 1989 to May 14th, 1998. Its last episode was on the 50th birthday of Israel, right? And just like this post here is from, again, January 22nd, 2022. But again, from the anniversary of the first episode of Seinfeld, it's interesting that it's July 5th, because you know what? 7-5, like Israel is 75 years old right now. Another big important number, and what's ongoing there. The word hostage with this gematria is 75. Again, that October 6, 1940 New York Times article, New World Order pledged to Jews on a date with 75 numerology when New World Order is 75. Ignatius of Loyola has the 75, the small way, the 201, the big way, the founder of the Jesuits. Again, we're at the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. But notice this woman who died, who was part of this Seinfeld cast, 201 days from the anniversary. And what I was saying at the time is I just documented how in a recent episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, the character had to let you know it was 201 in the episode. And again, this, you can see this tweet was from December 23rd, 2021. So it was like a month later. Now we're talking about the death of a former Seinfeld actress. And just one of many 201 examples. And coming back to the gematria list. Larry David, who does Curb Your Enthusiasm. He made it big with his show Seinfeld, starring Jerry Seinfeld, what they say is the biggest, well, that and Friends, the two biggest sitcoms of the 90s. But Jerry Seinfeld, 201, Jewish Mysticism, 201, State of Israel, 201, the Jesuit Order, 201. Again, that list goes on. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, 201. The first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican, his birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201. And the list just goes on and on and on with the million other examples. That's what's been crazy. From the time of those posts back in 2021 and 2022, I've been writing and rewriting a book on 201 and how important this number is. And if people can wrap their mind around it, they can see what is really controlling the world and the benefit of seeing who's controlling it so that it can be stopped. Again, the Jesuits are a real thing. They've been warned about for centuries. They were warned about by the founders because they were in suppression at the time of this nation being created. And by the way, the only president's name who ever equaled 201 was James Madison, and that's when the Jesuit suppression ended in history. The Jesuit suppression ended when James Madison, Mr. 201, was president of the United States, and it ended on August 7th, 1814, 8-7, and this weekend, December 7th, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, turns 87. But, yeah, I got to wrap this up. I think I've made the majority of the points clear. Again, Seinfeld ended May 14th, 98. Israel founded May 14th, 48. World War 48. Albert Pike's letter about 3 world wars. Albert Pike was born December 29th. Netanyahu came back last year, December 29th on his birthday, 2022. 1229 is the 201st prime. Netanyahu, again, stepped down in 2021 on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Again, from David Ben-Gurion through Netanyahu, 201 rituals. It's going on in the U.S., it's going on in Israel. Biden and Trump, often their family members in 201 rituals. Biden's been doing it since 1972. Remember, 72 is a big special number too, and Larry David's birthday is 7-2. In that year, 47. And now the last episode on April 7th, when you can tell that all of this is synced up. I've been making this point about Seinfeld and Israel for a long time. Look at this post from 2021. What did I write there? This scene is from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Again, her holding up the 201. It's Larry David's show, the creator of Seinfeld. The Jesuit Order 201, Jerry Seinfeld 201, State of Israel 201. And then I wrote, remember, Seinfeld ended on Israel's 50th birthday, and David Ben-Gurion died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. And then remember what we also said December 29, 2022, when Netanyahu came back, we said to expect major war ritual in Israel this year in 2023, around the time Yale turned 322 years old. Hamas attack October 7th. Israel declares war October 8th. Yale turns 322 October 9th. And for the person who's new here, when I say big way, small way with gematria, you got to know this first before I wrap this thing up. Ignatius of Loyola, for example, is 201 with the alphabetic order, the founder of the Jesuits, 75 with numerology, like Israel's the 201 nation and 75 years old. His name is also 87 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology. The Pope about to turn 87, the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201 who has a 201 name himself. The Ignatius of Loyola 231 is interesting because it's the 21st triangular number, and the word Jesuit itself is 21. So is Bible 21. And for example, the Holy Bible is 201, and all those same ciphers with 201. And you know who else has been doing the 201 rituals lately? And all kinds of Jesuit rituals is RFK Jr. He also had the nice 231 ritual when he had his anti-mandate get-together in Jesuit town, Georgetown, on Georgetown's birthday. But look at RFK and Larry David. I'm telling you, RFK Jr. is put out there to give people hope. You know, just like a Ron Paul or a Bernie Sanders. These people give hope because they're different from the rest of the politicians. A Donald Trump, a Barack Obama. Oh, yeah. Season 11 released 114 days after Larry's 74th birthday. I mean, it's just, and think about it. The last episode is going to be April 7th, which can be written 4-7. It can also be written 7-4. And I guess we can always close out with the 74 list. If you're new here, the most simple cipher. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. Seinfeld, 74. Like stabbing, like killing. I bring that up because the 74th day of the year, the Ides of March, remember the stabbing of Caesar? What happened this year on Netanyahu's 74th birthday, October 21st? The woman was stabbed to death in Michigan at a synagogue, and she's connected to the state attorney general who's trying to overthrow the Second Amendment, essentially, through a lot of other 74 rituals. But Larry is 74, like Larry David. Joshua is 74. I put that up there because it's the English translation of Jesus, who was Jewish. Knows how parables, which Jesus spoke in, like gospel, the story of Jesus, like Messiah, what Jesus is to Christianity, but not to traditional Judaism, like cross, like Jesus, just knows how all these words are 74. Understand, this is a special number. It's not an accident that Larry David's show with the Seinfeld history is ending on a date that can be written 7-4 or 4-7. Both super important numbers. The word Masonic is 74, and just to go through the rest of the list, Lucifer 74, like Jewish, like Masonic, like occult, like energy, like Gematria, like English, like London, like holiday, and the list goes on and on and on. 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7-4. Adams and Jefferson, who penned the letters, died on the same day about their concerns if the Jesuits came out of suppression and what it could do to the future of the United States of America. Again, the Jesuits are no joke. I mean, people knew that the Jesuits were the military order of the Catholic Church. They'll do whatever they need to keep things in favor of the church, what benefits the church. Been written about for centuries, since way longer than any of us have been here. And by the way, just from this announcement today, December 14th, to that April 7th date is 115 days later. Just forwards and backwards, Masonic, Lucifer killing. These are all numbers that show up in tragedies again and again. The word bathtub, 74 and 115. Remind me who Whitney Houston was hanging out with that night. Somebody that also hangs out with Larry David. Like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Come on, Mom, you got to wake up. Hanging out on the Epstein plane when Epstein disappeared by the numbers. During the time of Tisha B'Av, to remember Jewish tragedies. The Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the 2 temples. The World Trade Centers came down on the 74th meridian, and it's rumored that a group of people that tend to worship together got the heads up and didn't show up for their work that day. Go figure. Happened on the 107th day of the 107th mayor's age, Rudy Giuliani, and then we invaded Afghanistan on 10/7 when military's 107. And the same thing in Israel this year. 282 days after Netanyahu came back was that attack supposedly by Hamas when Benjamin Netanyahu's 282. But yeah, I got to wrap this thing up. And again, if you haven't seen this movie, not to live in fear, but just, again, a reminder that we are being mocked, a chance to wake up your friends, neighbors, family about just the things that are being forecast for the future of America. Again, these things could still be 30, 40 years away. You know, people are tripping right now. It could happen tomorrow. It could still be 30, 40 years away. They forecast their plans for 9/11 for that long. And again, if people wake up, stop participating in the game, shut down these elections, nobody votes anymore, nobody's duped by the news, nobody's complying with the latest mandates from Big Brother that are meant to just take away our rights and liberties. Again, it's game-changing. And that could happen if enough people had knowledge and awareness. You know, a lot of us have lived that way. If everyone was living the way we were through the last few years, nothing would have changed because nobody would have complied. Costco had to rescind my membership. I wouldn't go in there with a mask on. I'd say every time I just walk in there and say, yeah, I signed up to be a member before there was any mask mandate. That wasn't part of the contract. So I got a letter one day finally from Costco in the mail that they rescinded my membership. I was like, oh man, they had to look me up. But yeah, look at Tesla's recall from his birthday to the recall. 24 weeks. Mr. X, the 24th letter. Span of 6 days it also was from the Obama movie about this plot point, the autopilot. But notice how recall has that 24. Biggest recall, 2 million cars. Again, and don't ever forget that they said Elon Musk was the richest man in world history for the first time January 7th on the 78th year anniversary of the death of Tesla. Tesla equals 78 like Jesuit. Him and Trump are buddies. Trump's going to be 78 at the time of the next election. 78 cards in the tarot deck, the Trump cards. Donald Trump's uncle audited Nikola Tesla's apartment after his death. Now him and Elon Musk with Mr. Tesla. Come on. All right, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Thanks to everyone who hits the like and the share. Shout out to Andrew. Appreciate that, Andrew. And have a great day, everyone. Till next time.